Chapter 1, Rational Numbers Review. Question number 1. What is the product of 3 and 5/6 and -2 and 1/4? Product means to multiply. So we're going to be multiplying 3 and 5/6 times -2 and 1/4. And when you multiply a positive times a negative, you get a negative. So my answer is going to be negative. Before I multiply, I need to do Texas. So it would be 6 times 3, which is 18. 18 plus 5. 23 over 6 times 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 1 is 9 over 4. And then we look for places we could simplify. We could simplify 6 and 9. Both of those could be divided by 3. 6 divided by 3 would make 2, and 9 divided by 3 would be 3. And then we go straight across. 23 times 3 and 2 times 4. And that's improper, so we need to divide it out. 8 goes into 69 8 times with 5 left over, and the remainder goes on top, and the denominator is still 8. Question number 2 is underneath that. The temperature at noon was -3 degrees Celsius. By 10 p.m. on the same day, the temperature was 20 degrees. How many degrees lower was the temperature at noon? How many degrees lower? That means we're going to subtract. So I'm putting the bigger number first, minus -3. And the rule is keep, change, opposite. So we're going to keep the 20, change that to plus, and the opposite of -3 is +3. And then 20 plus 3 makes 23. So it is 23 degrees lower. Number 3. Linda's income has decreased by $150 over the past 12 months. What was the average decrease in pay per month? Average means we're going to divide. So if it decreased $150 in 12 months, we divide it by 12. 12 goes into 15 once. 12 goes into 30 twice. And then we're going to need to add a decimal and another 0. 12 goes into 60 5 times. This is talking about money, though, and money usually gets 2 spaces. So 12.50. $12.50. Number 4. Choose the set or sets the number 260 belongs. Think of the Venn diagram. Donut hole, integers, then rationals. 260 is a whole number, so he's going to go in the littlest circle. And if he's in the littlest circle, then he's also in integers and rationals. So he's all 3. Make sure to select all 3. Number 5, choose the terminating decimals. Terminating means that they end, not repeating. Terminating means they are not repeating. Well, we know from our list that 5/9 is 0.5 repeating. 1/4 is a quarter. Half is like 50 cents. 1/5 is like counting 20s. 1/6 wasn't on our list, so we might have to divide that one out. Remember man, horse. Six goes into 46 times with 4 left over, so it's repeating. So this one is 0.16 with the 6 repeating. 2/3 is 0.6 repeating. 3/8 was on our list. It's 375. Remember, eighths count by 125, so you just have to add 125 every time. 6/8 is 0.750. So which ones were terminating? Which ones ended? It would be 1/4, 1/5, 1/2, and the eighths. Those are all terminating. So look at what's left. 3 is repeating, 6 is repeating, 9 is repeating. Those are multiples of 3. I wonder if there's a pattern. Number 6. Cole played a math game in which he lost 2 points for each incorrect answer and gained 5 points for each correct answer. If Cole answered 6 questions correctly and 2 questions incorrectly, what was his total score? Okay, he got 6 questions correct, and he gets 5 points for each correct one. And then he loses 2 points for each wrong question, so 2 times -2 because he's losing. 6 times 5 is 30, and 2 times -2 is -4. So 30 minus a 4, his total score is 26. Number 7. What is the value of 2 2/5 divided by -1/5? Okay, well, first of all, I noticed that the first number is positive and the second number is negative. That means my answer is going to be negative. Okay, we need to do Texas first. So 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 2 makes 12. So this is 12 over 5 divided by 1/5. And then you need to do keep, change, flip. So this will be 12 over 5. Change division to multiplication. Flip that fraction to 5 over 1. And then before we multiply, we need to simplify. The 5's will simplify because 5 divided by 5 is 1. And this 5 divided by 5 is also 1. Then we go straight across. 12 times 1 is 12, and 1 times 1 is 1. And 12 over 1 is just 12. Number 8. Audra's new kitten weighs 2 3/8 pounds. What is the weight of her kitten expressed as a decimal? Well, we know the whole number's 2. We need to figure out what 3/8 is as a decimal. If you have it memorized, it'll be easier. If not, you have to divide it out. Man, horse. 8 goes into 30 3 times. 8 goes into 60 7 times. 8 goes into 40 5 times. Nothing left over, so this is 2.375. Number 9. What is the value of this expression? Now, it's 6.5 plus, and I don't know why this one isn't in parentheses, but negative 3 minus negative 1.6. Let's take it two numbers at a time. So 6.5 plus negative 3. Different signs, so we're going to subtract. And remember to line up the decimal. So in the number 3, the decimal is at the end. That means the 3 needs to go under the 6. So that's 3.5. And we take the sign of the larger. The larger was the 6.5, so that's positive. And then we have minus negative 1.6. We need to do keep, change, opposite. Every time there's subtraction, we do keep, change, opposite. So we keep the 3.5, change that to plus, and the opposite of negative 1.6 is positive 1.6. And then you can rewrite those, lining up the decimals, and add. So we get 5.1. Number 10, Walter spends $2.25 on an energy drink every morning and $1 on an icy every afternoon after school. How much does he spend in a school week? Well, first of all, let's find out how much does he spend in one morning. So that's $2.25 plus $1. And again, you need to line up the decimals. So in $1, the decimal would be at the end. That means he needs to go under that first 2. So every day he's spending $3.25. How much does he spend in a school week? Well, a school week has 5 days, so we're going to multiply by 5. Walter spends $16.25 in a week. Number 11. 4 friends took a road trip together and used 20 4/5 gallons of gas. If the friends share the cost of the gas, on average, how many gallons is each friend paying for? So there's 4 friends, and they're trying to split or share 20 4/5 gallons. So we're dividing, and that's the thing that we're splitting up. So that's the thing that goes first. 20 4/5 divided by 4 friends. Well, we need to change all of those to improper fractions. So we can stick a 1 under the 4. And we have to do Texas on this one. So 5 times 20 makes 100. 100 plus 4, 104. So this is 104. Then we do keep, change, flip. 104 over 5 times, and flip 1/4. We can simplify. 4 will go into 104. Well, how many times does 4 go into 100? Think about quarters. 4 would go into 100 25 times. And then 4 would go into 4 1 time. So that would make 26. And 4 divided by 4 makes 1. Then we go straight across. 26 times 1 is 26. And 5 times 1 is 5. That's improper. So we got to go divide it out. Man, horse. 5 goes into 26 5 times with 1 left over. 5 1/5. Each friend is going to pay for 5 1/5 gallon. Number 12. Victor wants to buy 20 large Sonic drinks for his math class. The drinks cost $2 each. Victor only has $15. How much more money does he need? Well, if they're going to cost $2 each means to multiply. So 20 times 2. Victor needs $40, but he only has 15. So 40 minus 15. He still needs $25 more. Hope he gets that. I like Sonic. And before we get started on 13, we need to correct this second fraction here that says she spent 2 1/8 hours. That should be 2 1/4 hours. Okay, so Krista spent 6.5 hours on her homework this weekend. She spent 2 1/4 hours studying for her social studies test and 1.5 hours on her math homework. The rest of her time, she spent writing a book report. How much time did Krista spend on her book report? So this kind of helps us step through it and figure out what we need to do. Step 1 says total hours on homework. The total that she spent was 6.5. And how much time did she spend on social studies? 2 1/4. And hours studying for math? 1.5. And we're trying to figure out the hours writing a book report. So it didn't tell us that. That's what we have to figure out. So step 2, hours studying social studies and math. So social studies was 2 1/4, and math was 1.5. And before we can add those together, we need to find a common denominator. What would be a good common denominator? Four is a good common denominator. So we want to change both of them to have a 4 on the bottom. The top fraction already has a 4, so I can just scoot him over. The bottom one, I would need to multiply by 2 to get a 4. And 1 times 2 makes 2. Then we add those together. 1 plus 2 makes 3. Denominator's still 4. And 2 plus 1 makes 3. 3 3/4. So if we add those together, we get 3 3/4. Now to figure out what's left for her book report, we would need to subtract that from the total. Step 3 says total hours minus hours studying social studies and math. So 6.5 minus 3 3/4. And then they tell you the answer is 2 3/4. So that goes right here. Number 14. The temperature dropped 8 degrees each hour for 2 hours. If the temperature started at 78 degrees, what would the temperature be by 2 o'clock? So it starts at 78, and if it drops 8 degrees by 1 o'clock, it's going to be 70. And then for 2 o'clock, we need to subtract again, so 70 minus 8 . 62. At 2 o'clock, the temperature would be 62 degrees.